In this video, we are going to look at furthering our understanding of the sun by looking at the rasis that are associated with the sun's Moola Trikona and its exaltation and debilitation rasis. All right, thank you once again for taking time out of your busy day to watch my little video. And check out my website, danceofthecosmos.com, if you're looking to get a reading, if you want to get some astrology tutoring. Those are both things I can do for you off of my website. If you like the video, now this is important here. If you like the video, you know what? Give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and if you don't like it, I apologize, is what it is, right? Anyhow, so speaking of that, let's get right into it. So in this video, now, what we're talking about is we're furthering this understanding of the sun. It is so important to understand how the signs and the planets are related and how much information we can glean just by understanding these basic factors of Moola Trikona, exaltation, and debilitation. Because what can happen so easily once we've memorized what every planet's exaltation is, its Moola Trikona and its own house and its debilitation, it's so easy to look at a chart and say, oh, the sun is in Aries and it's exalted, and boom, that's all. Whereas it's telling us a whole story. If we take the time to really piece all these things together, we can start understanding that. So let's get into this story here. So let's go ahead and let's pull up this graphic. So now, what you'll see here is I've got a little color coding going on. So I'm going to do all 7 planets. And so it's going to be basically the same graphic. And all of them in the color coding will be the same. Yellow is going to refer to its own house. Green is referring to the Moola Trikona Rashi. Then we have exaltation here and debilitation. It's this color. I just chose random colors. No, they'll be the same colors for every single planet that we go through. Anyhow, so now with the sun rules Leo. Leo is its own house. We know that. But the first, I believe, I can't remember the exact degrees off the top of my head, and so I won't say it. Anyhow, the first part of Leo is actually Sun's Moola Trikona position. From 0 degrees to, it's either 10, 12, 15, or 20 degrees of Leo is measured as its Moola Trikona. And Moola Trikona means just that. Moola means root. Trikona is trine. This is like where the sun derives its energy from, is from Leo. And so what do we know about Leo? Well, Leo is a fire rashi. Leo is a fixed sign. It's that fixed fire rashi. It's the 5th natural, because Aries is the first rashi counted in the natural order of the zodiac, and Leo therefore is the 5th. And so being the 5th rashi and being this sign, being this fixed fire sign, fire meaning the self, and the fixed self sign, it's about like our self-esteem. It's about feeling comfortable with who we are, about what it is that we want to bring into the world, and really about understanding ourselves. Also, we also know that Leo is about, now just in the general nature, we know that Leo represents kingdoms. It represents places of royalty. Now, when we look at the nature of the sun, we know that the sun represents the king. It represents the self. It's said to be the soul of all. And so basically what Leo is it's our kingdom, our territory, but it's like the territory of who we are as a person. Being that natural 5th sign, like the 5th house, kind of, it's a natural dharmic sign. If you were to count all the fire signs in the natural order of the zodiac, would be all the dharma houses, right? The 1, 5, and 9. And so Leo and fire represents the self. That's one of the things that we can say about a fire sign, is it's related to the self and who we are. And so Leo is really about establishing ourself and who we are, and that established part of it. And then Leo is representative of the Agnya chakra, the male portion of the Agnya chakra, which is about putting out into the world, about creating the vision of what it is that we want to accomplish. It's just, but it's natural and it's inherent to the fiber of our being, because like the sun, it's the soul of all. It's just there. It's what it is that we want to achieve. And so that's where the sun is sourcing its energy from. But where the sun performs best is its exaltation position, which is that of Aries. Now, Aries is the natural first sign of the natural order of the zodiac. Sun is the natural first planet. When you count all the planets, it goes Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn. That's the counting of the 7. So Sun is, and it's exalted in Aries, and I believe it is at 10 degrees Aries is its peak exaltation. So what's interesting about the sun is here we have the sun. The sun itself, by the way, I want to mention this too. The sun is a fiery planet. Obviously, I don't need to explain that to anybody. You should be able to figure that out on your own. Leo is a fire sign. Aries is a fire sign. Sun is the first planet. Aries is the first rasi. So what we can see with that is the sun is about, it's about, because what number one is kind of referring to the natural order of the zodiac, and this is the energy of Aries, is to go forward with things, to bring things out, to break new ground, and to be headstrong, put our head down and go forward with what it is. So we can see that whereas the sun is about, it's about that vision of what it is that is just in our natural territory of who we are, but where the sun is exalted, where its energy is the highest, is when we are taking that energy of who we are and we're bringing it out into the world. We're creating it, we're establishing it, we're going forward with that energy. We're not just sitting back with that vision, and we're going and we're establishing what it is that we feel we want to achieve into the world. And so and then naturally, Aries now is also it's a movable sign as well. And that's because the sun's taking what it's fixed at and bringing it into creation. Aries is also representative of the male half of the Manipura chakra, the third chakra, the navel chakra, which is where it's our source of energy. It's our source of personal power. So this is really what we see with the sun is what the sun is strongest. What it really wants to do is it really wants to achieve and bring out its vision into the world, that and without a fear of consequences, without asking anybody, it's going to do it. And that's kind of the way that a king is. A king establishes, it dictates, and it's like, this is what it is, this is what I need to achieve, and this is what needs to be brought out. And sometimes people are going to get hurt by it. Sometimes it's not going to work out for everybody. And sometimes it's a little bit headstrong. And that's kind of the nature of the king. It has that power to do that. But within our own consciousness, this is like our ability to just, we don't know why it is that we do certain things. We don't know why we want certain things. We don't know why we feel certain things are important and that we just need to go do those things. And that ability to bring that out, this can be different for everybody. For an artist, this is about making a painting, so an artist with an exalted sun is a type of person that is just like, I'm going to go create this brand new artwork, because he doesn't know why. It's just part of the fabric of his nature. And he doesn't ask anybody. He just goes out and, and he paints, and maybe, his wife and kids don't, they're like, where did he go? Why? Maybe the wife divorces him and he doesn't care because he's got this big thing that he wants to do and achieve, break new ground, create this new artistic endeavor. Now let's go ahead and since we're talking about art, let's talk about Libra, because Libra is ruled by Venus. Venus is known as the artistic planet. And now what we can see here is with the sun debilitated in Libra, where the sun is at its worst. Well, what is Libra? Well, Libra is an air sign. It's just a sign of intelligence. It's a sign of exploration. It's a sign of communication. It's a social sign of incorporating other people. And so when we look at the with the sun debilitated in Libra, what we can see is that when we take our vision, when we're trying to bring our vision and establish it out into the world, which is what the sun is doing when it goes in, wherever the sun is placed, is showing us where the sun is going to be bringing his energy. So when the sun is in Libra, that's the lowest place for the sun to be. Now, why would that be the case? Well, let's look at these qualities of Libra, and what this tells us is that when we're going to project out the natural vision of who we are. Now, Libra is represented by the scales. Libra is the natural 7th sign of the zodiac. And the 7th sign of the zodiac is about partnerships, about trade, it's about exchange. And Libra itself it's the scales of balance. Is always looking for somebody else's opinions, because Libra is also a human sign. It's representative of the marketplace. So the reason why the sun is debilitated in Libra, if we're trying to bring out from our Agnya chakra who we are, and we're just going to go to the active side of our heart, which is trying to connect with other things and wanting to connect with other people and wanting other people's opinions, it's like that's not really living our dharma. That's really not us establishing ourselves in who we are. That's why the sun is debilitated in Libra, because if the sun's goal is, which is Leo, which is where its Moola Trikona is, if the sun's goal is to provide our territory of what it is that we want to create in this world, and Libra represents, listening to other people, and when asking them, and listening to their advice, if we're sitting here instead of just going out, like what the sun's job is, the sun is also a cruel planet. It's just going to go and do its agenda. And the sun is the biggest, brightest thing in the sky. It's the center of the solar system. It's the soul of all. It is in Parashara, that is in the descriptions chapter of the planetary descriptions chapter. Parashara talks about the sun as the soul of all. And basically, it's what we just inherently want to bring out into the world. So in Libra, the sun is like going, well, you know what? I want to do this, but what do you think? Should I make this painting? So now let's go back to that same analogy of the painter, right? So the painter is like, he has this great idea of what he wants to do, and then he goes and he asks, his fellow contemporaries, he's talking to his wife, he's like, what do you think? Should I go make this painting right now? Well, I don't know if I should make this painting, because, it starts taking everything into consideration, because Libra is the sign of consideration, of considering other people's feelings, other people's ideas, what other people think, and so if that painter were to sit there and say, well, what do you guys think? Should I make this painting? I mean, do I have the time? Or what are you doing later? Should I do that? Or do I have to take care of the kids? Or would that be uncomfortable for you? And that's when we're not going to live necessarily, we're not going to make that big picture of who we are. And so that's what we can know about the sun. So we can see how the sun is all about establishing and bringing out our nature into the world. And that's what we see, because Aries is that. It's the first sign. It's the start of a cycle. It's here we are in this brand new life, establishing ourselves. And what we don't want to do is get caught up in asking other people. And that's where the sun can be troubled. Now, and another thing to look at here is what we can look at is we can count the rasis that Aries is away from Leo, because Leo is the Moola Trikona position. Aries is the exaltation place. So the sun is exalted. When it's exalted in Aries, it's in the 9th rasi from its Moola Trikona position. So what is the 9th house? The 9th rasi counted from something. that is in reference to like our family. It's like representative of like our family heritage. It's representative of finding higher purpose. It's representative of law. It's representative of higher education. So it's like, and finding like a higher purpose. It's representative of religion. And so what we can see with the sun in Aries is it's like it believes, like it, we go to achieve the things that we want to start because we highly believe in it. We believe it's the thing that we want to do, and it's in line with everything that we want to do. I mean, the ninth house is a trine. It's the highest trine. It's the highest dharmic thing. It's the highest. So it's the highest dharma. The sun's the highest position of planet in the sky. And what we can also look at here is with Leo, the relationship of Leo and Libra here, the sun is debilitated in the third rasi counted from its Moola Trikona position, which will tell us that, you know, the sun isn't doing as well in Libra because there's more of a consideration of maybe exploring, you know, asking other people's opinions. It's about communicating. It's about, you know, like, it's about learning new things, and it's about third house is about siblings and co-workers. So it's this idea of like, again, this is just reinforcing this idea of Libra just being about, well, you know, well, what does my brother say? What are my co-workers doing? You know, what is everybody else doing? You know, where within Aries, it's that ninth, it's that higher purpose. It's because it ties into your natural sense of religion and philosophy and how you see the world to be. So anyhow, that's what we can learn from the sun being exalted in the sign of Aries with its Moola Trikona position in Leo, and then debilitation in Libra. So much that we can learn, and this isn't everything that there is. This is just here to stimulate your creative intelligence, so you can take the ball and run with it, and really to just get you thinking when you see these rasis, to start tying these threads together. When you see the rasis of Moola Trikona, exaltation, debilitation, to really start thinking about how these planets operate and what that can mean, and count the houses from it. And it really gives you an idea of what that planet is and how that planet really wants to operate. So anyhow, thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and namaste.